I got this book as part of what was perhaps the worst shipping job of all time. So, about a year and a half ago, I found someone who posted some comics for sale online that he had just gotten from his brother. And he really didn't know much about comics, and so he was just looking to kind of get what he could for them. And he posted this one for sale for only $20. Now, when someone posts a book for sale like this for $20, you've just got to jump at it with some blind faith. I mean, I saw pictures, I saw it looked nicely, and so I agreed to buy this one and about 200 others. And there are some other big keys along with it, like an ASM 300. Now, when you find a deal like that, you want to be as easygoing as you can be as a buyer because, of course, you don't want to jeopardize the sale. But at the same time, you know this person probably has no experience with comics and certainly not with shipping comics. And so I didn't want to give him a hard time, but I said, hey, can you be careful when you're packing these? Please use bags and boards. And he responded and said, yeah, don't worry, I'll send them safely. And so I'm like, okay, well, again, I'm not paying that much, so it's certainly worth the risk, even if they come just a little bit damaged. Well, a few days later, the package came in the mail, and it was just a big box. And I thought to myself, this does not look good. And so I opened up the box, and all 200 comics that I bought were just totally loose. Nothing in a bag, nothing in a board. There was a little bit of packing paper to keep them from sliding around some, but it was just awful, especially since I knew that there were a lot of big books in there. Well, fast forward a few months, and I sent that ASM 300 in, and somehow, miraculously, even though it was a newsstand, this one is not. It survived the newsstand, it survived that box, and it came back as a 9.4. I couldn't believe it. And so I am cautiously optimistic about this book coming back somewhere in the nines as well. Now, it has a really interesting flaw. Across the top, there's these tiny indentions just all the way across, and my presser couldn't get them out. And fingers crossed, that means this is a manufacturer defect, and I'm not going to be dinged for it. Because if CGC deems that as a manufacturer defect, I think this, I don't want to jinx it, could be at least in that 9.4 range. So I'm hoping at least for a 9.0. Anything better would just be awesome. So let's see what it is. How did it come out of that box? My goodness! Are you kidding me? Wow. Oh my goodness. Not only is this book just worth a lot, but if you watch my channel, you know Secret Wars number 8 is one of the books that means the most to me, because the first comics that I ever got was a 3-pack from Kmart when I was a little kid, and it had Secret Wars 7 through 9, and I read those 3 comics over and over and over. And I still have my original kid copy, and it's pretty beat up. And so I have always wanted a higher graded copy and dreamed of it being a 9.8. And just wow. Maybe I should just stop the video now and this just be the video. Well, I do have a few other books, and of course, even if they came back as 9.8s, they're not going to top this story. But I am excited because this is a book I also really love as a Spider-Man fan. Amazing Spider-Man 238, which contains the first appearance of the Hobgoblin and one of my favorite Spider-Man covers. And this certainly is not a 9.8, but it is a very nice copy, and I got a great deal on this one as well. A little more than 20 bucks. But if it even came back like an 8.0, I'm doing great, but I do think it's better than that. I think it's in the 9s, somewhere probably between a 9, probably maybe a 9.2, and the grader was really having a good day, a 9.4, but I don't think it's going to have that. This corner right here is just a little too much to get a 9.4, I think. So let's see, 9.2. All right, yeah, what I thought. So that is great, and I'm excited about that. Now, before I get to the next book, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, of course, I'd appreciate it if you consider doing so now. Well, moving on from the Spider-Man books, I have a Batman 423, which has this classic Todd McFarlane cover. And this is a book I already have in a 9.6. And I don't think this is that good. I do think this is also in the 9s. And so this will probably be one that I sell. The 9.6 I have actually looks like a 9.8. It may be the first book that I ever do CPR on, or other words, if you don't know that term, crack, press, and resubmit, because I really do think that deserved a 9.8. And I think not just with that book, but others that came back in that submission, I just had a really harsh grader. So unless this hits a 9.8, it's probably certainly going to go for sale. And let's see what we got. Somewhere in the 9s, let me see. I think it's got a good shot, at least a 9.4. Let's see what we got here. 9.6, all right. That is worth a good amount of money. And this one, I don't think it can get to a 9.8, but still, great grade for this book. And speaking of Todd McFarlane, I have one of his lesser known covers, a really early cover, Allstar Squadron. Ooh, I guess you saw that. I got too happy. I didn't look at it. All right, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. I'm still on like a high from that Secret Wars 8, but this is another Todd McFarlane cover, obviously Dr. Fate. And when I sent this to my presser, he pointed out something I'd missed. There's these really, I mean, they're so small, stains on the back, like little dots almost. Looks like, you know, like a pencil tip size. But CGC really hits staining hard. And before I sent it in, I thought it was a 9.8 candidate. And with that, I don't think it is. I'm just, you know, really I'm hoping it can just get in the 9s with those, because I've had some staining on some other books that brought it down to like an 8.5. I'm hoping, yeah, since the stains are so small, it'll at least stay in the 9s. Good thing about it, it's a newsstand copy. And so, yeah, even if it is an 8.5, yeah, I'll do fine money-wise. But let's see what it was. 9.4. All right. Well, I'm pretty happy with the 9.4 considering those little spots. And that's really helpful to know that it does seem that CGC takes into consideration the size of the stains. Because again, they're really small, but they are there. And I'm really interested to look at the grader's notes on this one if they're provided. Yeah, CGC often doesn't provide for some of these books, but I am like a little bend here that I don't know if that would have been there before. But anyway, a 9.4. I am happy. All right, well, I got one more, and it's also an All-Star Squadron book, and this is issue number 25, which is probably in my top 10 underrated books. It's the type of book that I love because I collect first appearances. And anytime you have like the first appearance of a team with all new characters and it's all their first appearances, man, I really love this. And so it has lots of people. It has Obsidian and Jade, Nuklon, better known as Atom Smasher now, Northwind, Silver Scarab, Fury, and I forget what this guy's name is, Brainwave Jr. And so I'm super happy to have this. And this is another one that, you know, upon looking at it, I don't think it's going to get a 9.8. I thought it might when I sent it in. I'm learning I got to get a little more picky with sending it in. But I do think it's got a great chance at a 9.6. And if the grader had a good day, it could get a 9.8. I would be, I think, looking at it bummed if it's not at least a 9.6. So let's see what we got. Could we get a 9.8? I love it. 9.6. All right. That's what I thought it was going to get. I do hope one day I could get this book in a 9.8. Again, I just really think it's an awesome one. Well, there you have it. Other than The Secret Wars number 8, which was the clear winner of this submission, tell me in the comments below which of those books that you like the most. And of course, once again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd appreciate it if you consider doing so now. Like the video. Thanks for watching, and as always, I look forward to the next one.